Mala'ulu, and I am the Benefits Officer of ILWU Local 13. It is my privilege to work for the membership of our local. We're here today because we are celebrating the naming of the Benefits Office of Local 13 after the longest serving Benefits Officer, back then it was called Welfare Officer, Brother Bruce Krieger. He is one of our pensioners, and we are so fortunate that he is with us. Oftentimes when buildings or facilities are named after somebody, it happens posthumously, and we have the great honor of making sure that we honor Brother Bruce while he's among us. He became the welfare officer during a time when there were two. There was actually an original welfare officer, Mr. Richard Rowan, who needed help, and Brother Bruce stepped up to help him. Back then, the two of them ran opposite each other. One would run in the spring election, one would run in the fall election, and it was a one-year term. Eventually, the second position got phased out, and Brother Bruce stayed in office for 32 years. That's 3 decades of continuous service in elected office. I had an opportunity to call him a couple of weeks ago to share the news with him, and he was very grateful, very humble, and after a whole lot of that's not necessaries and I don't need that, he graciously accepted the honor. Thank you, Brother Bruce, because a lot of the procedures and the processes that you implemented when you were the welfare officer of our local are still in place today. And you are credited with influencing a lot of the service that we provide to our sisters and brothers. And now, here's his reaction to us naming the Benefits Office of Local 13 the Bruce Krieger Benefits Office.
It was just everything that Dick Rowan taught me, and it was wonderful. It was easy to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day for them. They would call me here at home at night. I remember living on the floor there, and they would call, and I would listen to them talk, and I helped a lot of guys get out. I've got a picture of some guys that they were alcoholics from San Pedro, and one guy, their mother and children came in and were asking for help, and I helped him. I took him before anybody could leave the welfare office. I took him to San Francisco to get cared for, not for San Francisco, excuse me, for Los Angeles. On my time as a welfare officer, I would take him up and taught him how to quit drinking and using drugs. He was a kind of a character that was from San Pedro. And when we go to the football games, watching the games in San Pedro and Wilmington, he'd get out there in his overcoat and everything and want to play football with the football players. And it was fun because he'd get in the way of the football players and get knocked down, and they'd have to carry him off this grass, and we'd cheer for him and everything. And it was, stuff like that I guess got me known, and I had fun, and I had helped him, and he got away from alcohol. And his wife and his children came and thanked me. Lots of widows were wives of pensioners, and the men had died, and the women would come and work to do that stuff, and I would be able to drive over there and be there and thank them, and they were very kind to me, come up and introduce themselves to me. They were so-and-so's wife and so-and-so's wife, and I couldn't remember their names of the guys that they told me I really helped them when they got injured, stuff like that. So I can't really, luckily there's a pensioners group that get elected, and the guy that's there now and has done a wonderful job and I still belong because I get a monthly thing of what they do and who died and all that stuff. And the ILWU has made me living well as I do now because the ILWU has done all that. I did what they needed, and I stepped my way up.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. My name is Greg Mitri, and I'm the president of the ILWU Southern California Pensioners. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about our brother Bruce Krieger. As you have heard, Bruce is going to be honored with the naming of the Health Benefits Office after brother Bruce Krieger. And I want to give you a little insight on brother Bruce and what he means to the ILWU and what he's meant to me in the last many, many years that I've known him. As you've heard, Bruce is a very humble man and doesn't like to shine the spotlight on himself, ever. Bruce was instrumental in many, many of the gains that the ILWU has achieved in the past many years. Some that I can name off the top of my head is many of the benefits that we enjoy today, the health benefits, are because of Bruce's perseverance and diligence. The widows that we have now that now get 75% of their spouse's pension when they pass away was directly attributed to Bruce's hard work and a lot of the lobbying that he did with our own negotiating committee of how important that was. Bruce never wanted to have the spotlight shine on himself. Bruce didn't even want this office to be named after him. But he truly is a dedicated ILWU member, and he truly is warranted of this great naming of the office after him. Many health benefits officers have come since Bruce was in office, and that's because Bruce was in office for almost 35 years. He was a absolute stalwart when it came to distributing our benefits, taking care of our members, and more importantly, dealing with our employers. Bruce had a relationship with our employers that was unlike any of the other health benefits officers that I have ever known. And after a while, Bruce became so well liked and so well known that when Bruce spoke to the employers or to the benefits plan office, they listened. That is a tribute to Bruce's personality, his perseverance, and just the kind of man that Bruce was. Bruce is a compassionate, kind, caring individual all the way up until this day today. Being the president of the pensioners, I have the pleasure of working with Bruce still, seeing him on a regular basis. Just recently, Bruce knows that he's getting up there in hours. He asked me to come over and he gave me all of the documentation he had on all of the work he's done on all of our benefits. A lot of it has to do with a benefit that we don't have yet, one of the only benefits, which is long-term care. Bruce has extensive notes and research that he's done that he's just turned over to me, and I'm so thankful for him for that. But Bruce would never, ever tell anybody. Bruce would never, ever toot his own horn, because that's what Bruce Krieger is. That's what he's all about. So naming this office after Bruce is fitting. It's an honor, and unfortunately, Bruce is not going to be able to get all the accolades that he deserves, but having that office named in eternity after him will hopefully show all of our members who Bruce Krieger was. Maybe they'll get to know him a little better, and he'll get the recognition that he truly deserves. He is an ILWU icon. He will forever be in my heart. I'm sitting in my office right now, which is right next door to where Bruce's office was for 35 years, here at the ILWU Memorial Hall. So in closing, I want to wish Bruce all the best in the rest of his life. God bless him. God bless the ILWU, and God bless every one of you and all of our members. Thank you very much.